This week, we're learning about PvE damage number and difficulty tuning, resource economy changes, how powerful gear drops will work in Shadowkeep, changes to the Eververse, some overall quality of life changes, the loss of Pinnacle weapons, a new emblem, and Bungie rewards for raid teams. I'm Kripuff, and today is September 26, 2019. Let's get started covering the Bungie Weekly Blog, This Week at Bungie. There's a lot to go over this week, so without delay, let's get started. First off, Bungie are adjusting damage numbers to make them both smaller and easier to understand. According to the TWAB, damage numbers for damage dealt to non-guardian enemies is getting crunched. This means far fewer numbers will populate on your screen in PvE. You'll rarely, if ever, see the infamous cap of 999,999. They've changed the way damage is calculated from exponentially to linearly. This will give them some years before they should have to take another pass at refining the numbers. Please note, this is a user interface change and not a hit to your in-game damage output. For overall PvE difficulty refinement, Bungie are also changing the way your power level works against tougher enemies. Enemies from 10 to 40 levels higher than your own will take less to kill and hurt you less than they have in Forsaken. This bump and challenge against higher power enemies will run up to 100 levels higher than your own. After that, enemies will be immune to any damage that you do. They're also changing the nameplates of higher level enemies to communicate these updates. Moving on to how progression and the resource economy in Shadowkeep will work. The TWAB states all non-powerful rewards will now drop from 3 to 0 points below your highest equipable power level. This is a fantastic change, and you can now even out your power levels with blues from activities before you go on for a powerful gear reward. Your 2 power rewards are being changed to legendary rewards. I'm not sure what this means for game modes like Gambit, Strikes, and the Crucible. We'll have to wait and see. Those year 2 sources will also no longer drop exotics. Any bonus exotics that drop from the Nightfall, the Ordeal, will now drop at the character's highest equipable power level. Additionally, under and over leveling activities no longer adjust how much power these rewards offer. Experience is changing from a way to gain character levels into a way to progress your season pass, your seasonal artifact mod, power progressions, and it will unlock destinations for new characters. The seasonal artifacts power gain will be additive with the power from our gear, but it won't increase the gear, or rather it won't increase the power of the gear drops that we get. Put simply, the artifact will raise your overall power level as you level it, but your drops will reflect your power level without the artifact. All existing gear will see its power raised to 750, and new characters will begin Destiny 2 at power level 750 as well after the patch. This will undoubtedly be a bit confusing for new players to the franchise, but it's something that should get brushed aside quickly as they level. The soft cap for the Season of the Undying will be 900. After that, only powerful and Pinnacle rewards will improve your power. The powerful gear cap will be 950, where all non-powerful rewards will be capped. After that cap, Pinnacle rewards will be your only way to raise power to the Pinnacle cap of 960. This is our season hard cap, but you will be able to surpass it by leveling your seasonal artifact. Prime engrams are also being changed. Firstly, they'll only begin dropping for you after you hit the soft cap of 900. They will now gain charges more quickly, drop more often, and have a higher maximum charge cap up to 9. The power gains from these engrams are changing based on their improved frequency, giving you a bonus of 3 power instead of the prior year's 4 to 7. Completing the Prime Example quest before the DLC's launch will earn you charges, but you won't see those drops until you reach power level 900. Heading over to the Eververse, there are some big changes to the in-game store and the currency of Bright Dust. As mentioned before, Bright Dust will now only be earned through completing Crucible, Gambit, and Vanguard bounties. Additionally, that Bright Dust will be rewarded from weekly ritual bounties, instead of dealing it out over the course of a week. Bungie says this should reduce the stress you feel to log in fear of missing out on Bright Dust bounties every day. Players will be able to repeat bounties as many times as they like. And speaking of bounties, turn your Crucible, Gambit, and Vanguard bounties in before 30 September, as these changes will reset them. As mentioned, these bounties are going to be the only way for you to earn Bright Dust. You'll want to go ahead and dismantle any Eververse rewards you know you won't keep between now and September 30th to get the dust from these items. The new Eververse items for the season will become purchasable from the store for Bright Dust 2 weeks after the season launches. I imagine this choice was made to incentivize players to buy silver to get newer cosmetics in these first few weeks when the hype is in overdrive. Items from the Eververse will also no longer require Bright Dust to reacquire from your collections. These pieces will now cost as much as the items of the same type or rarity do in materials. Your Fireteam medallions will become fizzled Fireteam medallions, that sounds disappointing, and can be dismantled into 50 Bright Dust, which is what they cost from the store. Your Gleaming Booms of the Vanguard will be lowered in price to 150 dust, and Gleaming Booms of the Crucible will be cheaper at 500 dust. The new season will see the best of Year 1 engrams swapped out for the new Nostalgic engram. I'm curious to see what kind of vanity items we'll find in a nostalgic engram, since that sounds very similar to the best of year 1, at least to me. You won't earn nostalgic engrams from leveling up, and instead you'll be rewarded with a bright engram and the free rewards of the season pass up to level 100. After that, you'll get one every 5 levels. Good news for fans of TES, after Shadowkeep you'll be able to access the Eververse storefront in the directory. I get the method to the madness here, and now that purchases are directly supporting Bungie, I'm okay with it. The Eververse paid for the Whisper of the Worm and 0-hour missions, and I think we can all agree we want more content like that. If you're like me and sweating using up all your Eververse bounty notes before the new season, then don't worry. Any bounty notes not turned in can be dismantled for Bright Dust. If you have any remaining Eververse bounties, you will still be able to complete and turn those in after the launch of Shadowkeep. You may or may not already know, but the Glimmer cap is being raised to 250,000 in Shadowkeep. They've also reworked how activities reward Glimmer. Your open world activities will reward significantly more Glimmer than they did before, while the passive Glimmer you gain from defeating enemies will be lessened. However, enemies will occasionally drop Glimmer chunks in addition to their passive rewards. Your weekly bounties will offer a big chunk of Glimmer on top of their usual rewards. Our favorite Vaughn vendor, the Spider, is changing up how he trades his goods. Glimmer will now cost 10 legendary shards or 20 materials for 10,000. His daily bounties will now give you etheric spirals instead of Glimmer. His weekly wanted bounties are changing to reward 3,000 and 15,000 Glimmer and enhancement cores instead of gear Glimmer and enhancement cores as they do now. Some more good news for anyone unlucky enough to nab a year 2 exotic. I'm looking at you, Paragon Grooves. Zura's inventory and faded engrams will now include all year 2 exotics. For quality of life changes, you can finally use rally banners on the Leviathan for its raids. Amen to that. The Shadow Throne will be available all the time, so no more waiting for the 3rd week of the curse cycle. The forges can be launched through the directly launched playlist on the EDZ, and now we can get another amen for that, I think. I'm not sure this includes the Nessus forges, but let's be honest, we all just do the Berguzia forge over forging weapons anyway. As mentioned in previous blogs, dismantling enhancement cores no longer gets rid of the entire stack. I'm not really sure who's dismantling enhancement cores out here, but now you'll just do so one at a time. There were some other minor adjustments and bug fixes made, which I won't go into detail about here for the sake of time. Now for the really big news. Pinnacle weapons are becoming ritual weapons. They won't have any special Pinnacle perks, and instead are going to become curated roles. Think of the curated roles of your favorite Dreaming City or Nightfall weapons. This is being done because the Pinnacle weapons became something of a Frankenstein's monster for the developers over the course of Forsaken. Particularly, the Pinnacle Crucible weapons were by their very nature turned into the best PvE weapons. Let's go over what we know about these ritual weapons now that we've brought them up. The Vanguard weapon looks to be a rapid-fire frame machine gun called Edgewise. It looks very similar to the Avalanche, and it won't have a unique Pinnacle perk. I can imagine it will be optimized for what we would like in a PvE machine gun now. Next, we have the Crucible weapon, Randy's Throwing Knife, which seems to be a scout rifle. I'm not sure who Randy is, but I'm fairly certain there's a funny inside joke here. It's interesting to see a scout rifle as a reward, and maybe it's a sign that scouts are going to be the next best thing in Shadowkeep. It makes sense considering hand cannons and pulse rifles are being reined in regards to range. And for Gambit, we have the Exit strategy. This looks a lot like the Gambit Prime and Reckoning SMG bug-out bag, and even has a thematically similar name. If the curated bug-out bag came with multi-kill clip, perhaps we could see something like that for this weapon. While we're on the subject of perks, it looks like some of our favorite damage dealing perks are getting reworked in Shadowkeep. Bungie say the legendary weapons as a whole are just too powerful right now, and I have to agree. I basically delete anything that isn't an Outlaw Rampage or Feeding Frenzy, Kill Clip, Rampage, role. Rampage, Kill Clip, Swashbuckler, Multi-Kill Clip, Desperado, Surrounded, Master of Arms, and Onslaught are all getting toned down. Listed for example, Onslaught and Desperado will now change bullet impact values while active in PvE. There's nothing more than that in the TWAB, but we can read between the lines and take a guess that damage values will be lowered when these effects are active in PvE. As another example, Surrounded isn't going to multiply precision damage as it did before. I guess the Callus Mini Tool will go from being a niche weapon to being pointless. Some very attentive Guardians noticed the Trials armor being displayed during the Shadowkeep preview video, and Cosmo was quick to point out that the Trials of the 9 armor will not be obtainable in the Season of the Undying. He also included an updated seasonal calendar in the TWAB, which you can check out. Additionally, the mod to make your finisher drop heavy ammo was changed to drop a heavy ammo brick for you, but will instead drop special ammo for your fire team. It's a disappointment, I know, but it seems as if Bungie is being very careful about avoiding power creep this time around. There's a very meaningful and impactful story about the new Pride engram Bungie will be offering for those who purchase the Bungie Pride pin through the Bungie store. I highly encourage you to go read the TWAB and read Nigel's story about his experience. This emblem will be released on International Coming Out Day, October 11th. Finally, Bungie are offering a custom jacket for any player who beats the Garden of Salvation raid before the weekly reset on October 15th. Say they're giving Guardians some extra time to meet this challenge this time around, since they know players don't necessarily enjoy blitzing through content just to get these rewards. Additionally, completing the raid anytime during the season will unlock a code for you to use to redeem on the Bungie store for a raid t-shirt. Wow, that was a lot. That's all for now, Guardians. What are your thoughts about the reworking to some of our favorite perks and ritual weapons? Leave your comments below and let us know what you think. Goodbye for now.